Welcome back, beautiful people. Welcome back to Hadassah's Cup. In this channel, we talk about all things herbal wellness, biblical femininity, how to reclaim your herbal traditional knowledge from the Bible, from the herbal goodness, from your cultural traditions. Being Afro-Indigenous Latina myself, I really love to help women bring back their power, essentially, when taking care of their health. So without further ado, let's hop into this video. Today I just want to talk about nothing really structured. It's just kind of a cozy chat here on my patio with my coffee. I want to talk about stress and the hormones and burnout, and as a society, for women to feel the need to just constantly do, achieve, get things done, and then at the end of the day, we are dealing with PCOS, we're dealing with PMDD, all these hormonal issues. So I kind of just want to give my thoughts about it. I want to just cozy chat with you all, and then at the end, in the comment section, let me know what you think. I want to know what you all think. Okay, so before we go in, I know I look probably a little tired. It's because I am. Like I said before in my previous channels, I am a mom of four. Your girl is tired. Right now they are at summer camp for half day, so I get this little cozy time. And I think I'm getting a cold. So sorry for all of the sniffling, everything that's happening. And disclaimer, I have neighbors, okay? I live in the city. I have neighbors who are going to be coming up and down the stairs. I live in a townhome, cars, dogs barking, kids, all of that. But sorry in advance, not sorry. Okay, I just want to talk about a little bit about my journey in becoming an herbalist, on the road to becoming a women's holistic nutritionist, and hormonal coach, because what really prompted me was, like I said in a previous video of mine, is the issues that I have dealt with since being a young girl. I got my period at a very young age. I want to say 9 or 10. And studies show that young girls, women, are getting their periods younger and younger these days due to all of the hormones in the meat, in the chicken, in, the additives in all of the foods. And really just, the food that is in our grocery stores. Now, this is no new topic. Everybody knows about Monsanto, and a lot of the food at the stores are just food products. They're not really whole foods. And so, my mom, my parents, they did the best they could. They didn't grow up, of course, loud playing, sorry guys, but they didn't grow up with the food that we have today. I think probably in their generation, the genetically modified foods were just coming on the scene. But when they were kids, okay, my father grew up on the east side. Every state has an east side. That's where the black people reside. We were in those times, when it was in the middle of segregation. He was one of the first waves of black children to be integrated into other white schools. So with that being said, they had access to grocery marts, but they relied on the corner store. I remember the family home that we had, there was the corner store. All the adults would send the kids, hey, go pick me up this from the corner store or whatever. And so, they didn't really have access to all of the great whole foods that we do today. So there's one problem, and I know that our communities, black and brown communities, are still dealing with this issue to this day. Food deserts, especially if you're on a reservation. There just isn't much. You're not able to get the nutrient dense foods that you need. You're grabbing the canned beans. You're grabbing the tortillas that have been on the shelf for like months, and so you're doing the best that you can do. There's that. I don't think nutrition was especially taught in the schools in their generation as children. Also, sorry guys, my mother, now she did grow up being a little bit more health conscious. However, you know, when you go to the store, it was kind of like, okay, chicken is chicken. Like we said, there wasn't the education really in our communities of, oh, don't buy this chicken from this place because it might be pumped with hormones. I think, like I said, my parents did the best they could. So all of those things, and then, you know, eating the high fructose corn syrup cereals and the chips, all of those things kind of led to my bleed, my onset, early period. I went through puberty very early, had very painful cramps early on, and I just thought that that's what that was. I thought that's how it was supposed to be. And I kind of just dealt with it as I got older in middle school and high school. I noticed I started having, you know, mood swings, like the normal PMS symptoms, you know, and I think as young girls, we're taught about it wrong. Kind of like we were taught, okay, like, don't tell anybody you're on your period, you know, make sure you're clean, which is good, but don't tell anybody. Oh, and then there's the negative stigma, like, oh, you must be on your period because you're grumpy or this or that, and just told to take over-the-counter medicine. Like I said, I'm for certain over-the-counter medicines. I love our doctors. At the same time, there is, how do I say this? There is also a negative side, right? And side effects. On each bottle of medication, there are side effects. So it's kind of like, oh, take this Pamprin or take this before your cycle so that you're not crazy. But what they don't realize, what my family didn't realize, that in the long run, it actually, you know, the side effects start to kick in. It can cause liver damage. It can do all of these atrocious things to the body. So it wasn't until I think when I was 18, 19, I became more health conscious. I started to eat more herbal foods, you know, nutrient dense foods, whole foods essentially. Yes, I was on a budget. I was in college. I was working. I had my own apartment, so I didn't have a lot of money, right? My father did help me when he could. He did, you know, he made sure I had groceries. So I would go to Sprouts. I would go to Vitamin Cottage. I would see what was on sale. I would eat the same things. Sometimes, you know, you're a broke college kid, you don't really get to eat. There's that. Fasting. Fasting is good for you. But, you know, I started to educate myself on these things. But I still dealt with PMS, PMDD. You know, crying a lot. Feeling like, thinking that I was depressed. Thinking that I was depressed, you know, still eating all of the wrong foods when my period was coming. I felt like, oh, it's a justification. I'm gonna eat all these cookies or this chocolate, and, you know, which really does not help your body. So fast forward now to being a mother, you know, having my children, learning about my how to restore my body during and after having children, because that's a whole other ball game that we'll get into another day. And so maybe just about a year ago, honestly, just a year ago, dealing with IBS, PMDD, trauma, stress, just all of my little life experience leading up to me now really just turn into like this ugly ball of, oh, you're dealing with anemia, you're dealing with IBS, you're dealing with this and with that. And I had to break things down piece by piece learn about IBS, learn about nutrition again, learn about cycle syncing, learn about herbalism again. All of these things that I kind of put on hold, because when you become a mom, you know, your focus is nurturing your child. When you become a wife, you know, taking care of your husband, your household, we can often put ourselves on the back burner, and that's exactly what I did. Stress took a toll on my body. Not to mention, I am in my second marriage, and just kind of going through all the stress of being a single mom back then, and you know, going through a divorce and figuring out how am I going to work, how am I going to feed my children, working a full-time job with twin babies. Okay, that was a lot. So my hair started to fall out. The anemia got worse. My IBS flared up to the max, until finally I hit my breaking point, and actually getting married, becoming married to my husband now, felt like I was safe, like I could rest, like I could relax, and learning how to allow another human being in this space to help take charge of the home, to help direct. And that's a journey of its own too. But now I can focus on me again. Now I can focus on my nutrition again. And so I no longer feel like I'm in a fight or flight state, which I know a lot of women, we can be in that mode like 24/7 and not even know that that's what we're in, because we've been in it for so long. But I'm here to tell you, reassess where you are, journal, take some time to go before God in prayer, to meditate on scripture, to just sit and allow those feelings to come back up. You might start to have memories that maybe were traumatic. You might start to have memories that made you feel sad, or you might even have happy memories. Sit there with it for a minute and ask, okay, God, what do you want me to know? Because that's really the beginning of your healing journey. That's why I love the holistic approach, because it kind of it brings it all together. All the little things that helped get you to this point of disarray, God can use all of those little things in a holistic approach to bring you back to healing and nurturing, right? And so journaling, praying, meditating, stretching, figuring out your morning and night routines and doing your best to stick with them has really helped me. You know, I'm a human, I'm not a robot, so, you know, not every day I get to do those morning routines or night routines, but I do my best to have those boundaries with myself and my children and my husband. You know, what a typical day for me would look like with those morning rituals and night rituals in place. Wake up, spend some time in prayer, or you know what, sometimes you might need that extra rest. But waking up, spending time in prayer, journaling, making sure that I have myself set up with a nutritious and proper breakfast. These crows are crazy. Oh my gosh. And then going about the day. I homeschool year round. So then that time is dedicated to my children. We do our thing, lunch, all of these things, get them outside. I make sure that we get outside, not just for them, but for me too. Even if you don't feel well, get that sun in, that vitamin D, you need that. And then we have our night routine, which is, might be dance practice for them, or we're reading, whatever it might be. By a certain time, no, that did not, sorry, bug just flew into my coffee. But at that certain time at night, then I get them ready for bed, their bath, all those things, and I shut it down. If my husband is working, I'll give him a call, try to give him a call, catch up with him about his day, and then draw the boundary line where I'm essentially taking care of myself, where I'm getting my herbal tea in, I'm getting in my vitamins if I didn't get them in the morning, I'm journaling, I'm praying, worshiping, at least for 10-15 minutes. It doesn't have to be, so elaborate, so long. And then making sure that I have that time just for myself, If I want, you know, a little sweet treat, nothing too big, like a little piece of chocolate with fruit, a chia pudding, or just fruit, you know. Or if I want those chips, I didn't have chips all day, I'm gonna have a little bit, okay? Treat yourself. But yeah, just leading back to how stress and the need to feel validated, the need to feel like, you know, we have to become this ideal woman, whatever that is, because it's different for each person. It's different for your circle. It's different for the influence around you. Those are all contributors. You can often burn out, you know, not to mention there's so many other things. I can go on, and I think what I'm going to do is subtopics on this, because it's so vast. Like, it's just so needed. And I know that there are many YouTubers out there who are talking about the same thing, which I think is great. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take us on a journey about the different phases of our cycle and what to eat. You know, these are just tips and suggestions, but what to eat, how to exercise, what to read, what to do, healing, you know, rituals. And I don't mean like, you know, woo-woo rituals. I mean like implementations of practices that you're putting into your life to help you, support us. I'm going to do subtopics about that. How, you know, different foods, nutritional guides, what foods to eat, what foods to take out. And we're just going to go on this journey. So journey with me as I continue to learn and educate myself. And I will also regurgitate to you what I have learned and what I have found helpful along this journey, because I am still on this journey. I've not fully arrived, where I still have to be mindful every day of what I'm putting into my body, or else I will have a flare-up. And it affects my mood, it affects my mind, it affects my relationships. So if you're like me, if you've dealt with IBS, you've dealt with PMDD or PMS, I'm here to support you. Let's support each other. All right, until next time, have a beautiful day. Bye.